Hello, welcome back. Well, listen up. There are reasons why you are always going to be learning English. The first reason is it's not your language. It's as simple as that. It's not your native language. So, what happens is when you're a child and you start speaking your native language and you start hearing that language everywhere around you, you internalize vocabulary and structures in a very natural way. You don't realize you're doing it. Your brain is not making any effort. Up until 3 or 4 years of age, there's no effort at all to learn a language because it's not even called learning, it's called acquiring a language. So that's language acquisition. No effort, nothing. No child, no little kid that speaks 4 languages by the age of 4 deserves any kind of praise. Really, because there's no effort involved. It's just, the brain does that naturally, provided that there is enough exposure to those languages. Great. So when you're little and you are in this environment with your native language and people are speaking that language around you all the time, everywhere, in all kinds of situations, you're learning. Your brain is like a sponge, just soaking everything in, all of the new words, all of the structures, how the language really works as a whole. And then later on, you realize you have never actually said, you've never uttered, which is the same as say, to utter is the same as say, you've never uttered a particular word, but you know that word. You know it for sure. You hear it, you know the meaning. You would be able to say it if you had to, even though you've never said it. That's what your brain does with your native language. So you will probably agree with me that whether you are Brazilian like me, or Iranian, or French, or Turkish, it doesn't matter. You have your language and your brain is packed with grammar and vocabulary from that language. And it's natural to you. Yeah? Okay. When it comes to English, which is a foreign language for you and for me, things are very different. Things are very different. Do you know why? We did not grow up speaking English. So naturally, so if you think about my life, I started learning English when I was 15 and I moved to England. So for the first 15 years of my life was Portuguese and Portuguese only. And then we moved to England and I started learning the language. That was the very beginning for me, and it did not happen quickly. It was a long process for me. 15 years that I spent speaking Portuguese only and being exposed to Portuguese only are a massive gap in my English. So all those little things we learn when we are little, being immersed in our native language, did not happen for me in English. So I have found myself over the years, I've been speaking English since I was 15. I'm 37, almost 38 at the moment. So over the years, I have found myself countless times searching for vocabulary that was extremely basic. Things like a watering can, which is what you use to water your flowers. That's something I didn't know up until when my son was about 2 and he was watching Peppa Pig and hello, there it is. So you need to accept that there is always a gap. For me, it was 15 years. If you started learning English when you were 25, it was 25 years for you, and so on. And that's not something you should be ignoring, because when you ignore that, you make yourself believe, it's really like you're lying to yourself, okay, to make yourself feel better. You make yourself believe that there's one day that you're gonna feel you will have learned English as a whole. And that's simply not gonna happen because of the gap that was there before you started learning that language, in this case, English. So that's the first reason. It's not your native language and there are gaps there that you simply cannot fill up until the end of your life. So you're probably, this is going to sound horrible, but it's just the bare truth. You're probably going to die not having reached the same level in English as you have in your native language. So relax. The second reason why you're going to be learning for the rest of your life is that in a foreign language, again, English for you and me, we don't reach fluency as a whole, as we do with our native language. You know, we're fluent as a whole. We can talk about anything. Even when we don't have the exact terminologies, we find a way and it works great. In English, our fluency is kind of developed in little chunks. So you're fluent in English when you're talking about your work vocabulary, or you're fluent in English when you're talking about being a mum because you live in Ireland and you have kids and you have this mum life, so you're fluent in that respect. You're fluent in English when it comes to speaking to your boyfriend because your boyfriend is Australian, and so on. So accepting that you don't ever reach fluency as a whole in a foreign language and rather in specific chunks helps you accept that you're going to be learning for the rest of your life. If you think about my example, I am a proficient speaker, so I can, navigate the language really well, comfortably, without struggles. English is okay for me. However, I know for sure that if I had to face a completely different situation today, let's say from now on, I have a completely different job. I'm working as, a personal assistant for a very important solicitor. Well, I don't know that kind of vocabulary. I've never used it. I've no idea. I'm going to be learning lots more things and my fluency is going to be changed from that experience. There you go. The second reason is a new situation will teach you new English. The third reason why there's never a time that you really feel that you really proper know the language is when you're having a conversation with somebody and they say something you've never heard before, most of the time you don't hear it. And the reason why you don't hear it is, well, there are two main reasons, okay? Reason number one is you're still very uncomfortable having interactions in English. So when the person's speaking, you're just in this crazy survival mode where all your brain's doing is, God help me understand the message. I need to know what this person's saying. I just need to be able to get the gist, to get the message. So that's the only thing you're thinking about. And being able to reply, help me have something good to say back. What am I going to say now? Like the person's going to finish. What am I going to say? What comment am I going to make? So that's what you're worried about. And the second reason is when you have reached a better level of English, you are so comfortable hearing the language and you understand really the context of most things. You're not paying attention to how that person is delivering the message. You receive the message, your brain is going, okay, I get it, I know exactly what you're saying. But you're not paying attention to how that sentence was constructed, the grammar, the words, how they wrapped it all together and made it sound so beautiful. If you're not listening close, you're going to struggle to improve your English. So that's the third reason why you're going to be learning for the rest of your life. With every interaction, there's something new. And if there isn't, it's simply because you're not listening. Anyway, I really hope this video has been helpful to you. Learning a language really is so much about being exposed and being present enough that you're listening and you're challenging yourself to use some of those new things that are just lost in your brain, and you have to retrieve them and find a way to throw it into a sentence and make it sound good. That's what learning a language should be all about. Constant improvement, constant learning. Don't be threatened by learning. Learning is amazing. Don't feel bad when you learn something new. Just, as basic as it may be, don't feel undermined. Don't feel inferior because you didn't know that extremely simple vocabulary every 3-year-old knows. You're not a native speaker, so you naturally may know less than a small child who is a native speaker of that language. Don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself in terms of, I'm an adult and I don't know that, and that little child knows it. I mean, that's crazy. No, it's not crazy. That child was born being immersed in that language. I mean, it's the craziest thing for you to compare yourself to someone in that situation, okay? Different things. Be open to learning and things will get a lot better for you. Thanks for watching today. See you later. Bye.